Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
February 5, 2021, the Tompa Brady Bay edition. And of course, we refer to Tom Brady, quarterback, not for the New England Patriots, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. We begin with a story from the Washington Post, and it really revolves around the energy industry and its idiocy in criticizing the Biden administration because the energy industry did worse, had its worst 4 years, probably in 40 years under Trump. And within the first 30 days, they're already criticizing the Biden administration for allegedly causing the loss of jobs. Somebody over there needs to wake up and read the balance sheet because all companies' losses in 2020 were staggering. A bad global economy, and the promise of all-electric vehicles, and of course, climate change are on the horizon. And the energy industry, particularly the extractive industry, is really facing an extinction similar to the coal industry because they can't seem to wake up to the fact that climate change is here, more efficiency is here, and there's an oversupply of oil anyway. So wake up, energy industry. Next up, Fox News is sued by electronic election technology company for over $2.7 billion. Smartmatic accused Rupert Murdoch's network of promoting a false narrative about the 2020 election that damaged the company. Clearly, the Fox network knew they were peddling lies. So even if Smartmatic is determined to be a public entity, it was pretty clearly done recklessly. I don't think Smartmatic will be a public entity, so it'll be a standard negligence test. The suit's filed in New York State Supreme Court, so that's New York court. And if they can hold jurisdiction there, it will be a very powerful lawsuit against a lot of individuals who are culpable in the misinformation, which, of course, was the basis of the January 6th insurrection. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, Brazilian companies are facing a tough time in the ESG world because of their really inability to deal with the deforestation of the Amazon, which is accelerated under the current president, Bolsonaro. Some foreign investors have threatened to unload Brazilian assets if they don't change their view, and an ESG focus of a number of the biggest companies in Brazil show they are extraordinarily tainted. Of course, Petrobras leads the way, but also Vale, who's had devastating environmental catastrophes which have cost hundreds of lives in Brazil. So Brazilian companies need to wake up and smell the 2020 roses in terms of ESG and what investors want to see going forward. Our final story is yet another bank whose head was in the sand, and this was Credit Suisse, and it was alerted to a private banker's misconduct years before criminal charges. And the Credit Suisse overlooked red flags for years while a rogue private banker stole from billionaire clients, according to a report by the law firm for the Switzerland's financial regulator. The private banker was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2018 for fraud and forgery. He admitted cutting and pasting client signatures to steal more than $150 million. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.